Did it just start me streaming? Let me click on this. Yeah, it did start me streaming. Okay, so let me get the shareable link. I am going to put it in Discord. I want you to breathe it in. I want you to breathe it in. Okay, there we go. I didn't have time to put the photo in, so we're gonna go with that. And then on Patreon, okay, new link in salted fish chat. Or can't I can forward this, right? That's a thing. Forward. Yes, into general chat. Okay, now this, okay. If anyone is already here, you'll just have to excuse me. I'm trying to get the link to my Patreoners as well. Okay. Wait. Okay. Well, now I guess. New link. Okay. Publish and notify. Okay. So now when I come on here, let me see if it's working. Oopsie. Okay, I can see comments here. Sorry, I wasn't saying hi to you all. I was trying to get this figured out. And then I also still can't see you guys' comments on OBS. I don't know how to put that here. I would have thought it would just have it off to the side for me. Okay, I guess that's something else that I have to figure out. So I will have to pull up this on another device so that I can actually see you guys' comments. And I'll go change the photo later. I don't have a convenient spot to put this. Oh my gosh. Hi, everyone. I hope you all are having a magnificent day. It's been a slow one for me, mostly because I stayed up too late and I also still woke up on time, if you will. Not very excited about that. And so, okay, here we go. There we go. So I'm a little bit sleepy. I'm gonna just go ahead and put that out there right now. I am sleepy. Also, I need to make sure the sound's working, right? Also, still woke up. Yes, okay. So, good afternoon, Suki Hua, Cookie Licious, Megan, Jazz, Musical Marauder, Neko Neko, FMGF 0926. Hi, it's so nice to see you all. You say you can comment now. Yay. I don't know how in the world it was put on Made for Kids. Anyway, whatever. It says, "How you do, fellow kids?" Yes, hi, my little kids, my little children, all of my mini Maris. How are you guys doing today? Oh, you said you're working on unpacking. Oh, not fun, but much better than. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Suki. Oh, thank you for the donation. I really appreciate it. I just discovered recently how to like do the whole coffee thing and some other stuff. And I know YouTube has their own things, but thank you so much for the $2 donation. I greatly appreciate that. And this little emoji, well, not emoji, GIF, it's so cute. Let me get a closer look at it on my phone. That's so cute. Oh my gosh. So, oh, you're unpacking. Oh, wonderful. YouTube at it again. You know what? I'm not even going to blame YouTube. I'm going to blame myself because this was me. I'm using OBS as a platform to start streaming from because it'll be easier, especially in times when I share my screen, that I can move myself out of the way. Because there have been some times where, like, the side is cut off and it may be something there. So a lot of people, are like, well, you can use OBS, it's convenient and you can move things around. And apparently, like I have on the screen, the support me at kofi.com/Mari Chan. Like you can just add stuff that you can't do on regular YouTube. So I take full responsibility for marking it for kids. That's on me. Hi. Give me a second. Crinsley. I'm gonna go with that. If that's not right, all you have to do is tell me, and I'll correct it. I hate mispronouncing names. Like it's so important to me. Growing up, I got so many pronunciations for my name, and I just felt like it was totally unnecessary. Um, because my name is Kamaria, which is where Mari, is coming from. And so I've gotten Camaria, camera, like just the device, the click click. What else have I gotten? Of course, people like to be dramatic and they're like, Camaria. And I'm like, oh my gosh, don't pretend like you're, I don't know, Mario Karts or something. What else? I've also gotten Macaria, and I was like, can we at least start with the letter K? At the very least. Uh, Camaria, K Maria, or Camaria. So like I've always corrected people and I take pronouncing people's names very seriously. So if I ever mess up someone's name, please be like, "Hey, this is actually how you say it." Love the earrings. Thank you. I actually decided to put them on because Uzma is working on my Mari's musing artwork. And she was like, can I add some earrings or something? I feel like it looks a little dull, which it did not look dull, but okay. And I was like, well, I don't really wear earrings that often. So I don't know, it would be weird. But today I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put on some earrings. So yeah, Udma, here's that moment that I am wearing earrings. One of those rare occasions. And these are the only earrings that I have because I don't like to wear jewelry. Um, yes, best of luck, Neko Neko. But again, at least you're unpacking rather than packing, because that is where I'm telling you, the next time I move, I probably won't really do this. No, I won't. But a part of me would just be like, just sell everything. Let's not move anything out. Just sell everything and then buy new stuff when we get to the new location. You said marking what for kids? QJJ reading? No, the live session. This live session was accidentally marked for made for kids. So yeah. Your name sounds lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much. It means moon. And that's why I've also chosen Chenjuan as my Chinese name because that is the more poetic way to say moon. So you got Mari Chan. It's just moon moon. If you put it like that. Thank you guys so much. No one can spell my name correctly. Oh, you know what? Considering I just sent your books out, I don't understand why they wouldn't be able to spell it correctly. But, it is what it is. You said you have the simplest name. Nobody pronounces it right. And I never care. I'm like, hey, whatever works for you. No, I would have to figure out how to say your name exactly. Moving does suck. Teacher Mari. I was a teacher for a little bit. Um, Also, the crunch action, you're getting a little ASMR. I what did I teach? I taught English as a foreign language, and I also taught my siblings, my younger siblings, they were homeschooled. So I taught them English, slash reading, math, something else I'm not remembering, and Mandarin. um, I think when I was younger, I also helped my mom tutor some kids sometimes because she used to tutor. And so I would help out just a little bit. So yeah, I used to be a teacher. I also, when I went to church more faithfully and was more dedicated to, my relationship with God, I was also a minister. Look at how far I've come. But anyway, I taught the youth and every now and then did sermons. So I thought I wanted to be a teacher, you guys. I really did. But that's not it. Mari Moon is an adorable nickname. That's basically what it is. Oh gosh. You said it's that they never put the L's. Oh, okay, I see. But that would just completely change your name then. You guys, I know what Neko's name is, so that's yeah. You said crunch. Also, I don't even know how long the delay is here. I will have to figure that out at some point. Maybe, well, How's Mine's not here now, but I know they offered help. Maybe I'll get on the live and see like how long the delay is with them at some other point. That's how you know it's good. He said it reminds me of our previous discussion when it's appropriate for kids to read these types of books. Misplacement, in age rating in books. Yes, because I think maybe so far this might be okay. Do you have any useful tips for learning Mandarin? Um, so first, let me just put out there that I haven't studied in like 3 years. The goal is for me to get back into it this month. When? Not sure. We'll have to figure it out. So, a lot of the Mandarin that I learned has been lost. So, I am no longer at the level I used to be. But one of my greatest tips, one of my first most important tips to give out of, I don't know, two or three, is to learn things you're actually going to say. I know a lot of times people start with HSK because that's, well, the standard thing. Like even Chinese people learn HSK, but a lot of those words, some of them you might not even say on a consistent basis. So could you learn them and memorize them? Sure. But when you get to a point where you're trying to have conversation, if you're not actually using those words, then like you're going to lose them, right? Because who is going around saying, um, I don't know, Xerox machine, for example? I'm not saying that's on HSK. I don't remember because I stopped learning HSK. But if Xerox machine was on there, when are you going to say that? You know, it's like, is it helpful maybe one day to know that? Yes, but just like in your own language, you don't know all the words in your own language. You don't have to try to learn every single word there is in Mandarin. All you need to know to be considered fluent is approximately 4,000 words because on a daily basis, we all pretty much use the same amount of words. I mean, the same set of words with some changes every now and then, depending on what we're doing, where we're going, like to a doctor's appointment or something like that. So that's tip number one. Study words you're actually going to say, not just find vocabulary and be like, okay, guess I'm going to learn how to say this word. And this thing doesn't even exist where I am, or this thing is rarely used. And even if it is something you might use, it still may not be the time for you to learn it. Like spray bottle. Sure, convenient to know, but when are you going to use it? So that's tip number one. Tip number two, immerse yourself as much as possible. When I first started studying, I was deep in it, which I know everyone's schedules are different. I was at a point where I was working from home. I'm still working from home, but my job, I think, was I was doing Uber. I had a lot of time on my hands. And so not only was I studying vocabulary, I was watching C dramas all day, every day. I know everybody can't do 8 hours of watching stuff, but when I first started, I was. I was watching C dramas like all day. I kid you not. Um, But doing that rather than listening to stuff in your own language, you're getting yourself used to hearing that language. Even if you're not understanding, even if you have to put on the subtitles and all that stuff, the point is listening. Because of course, we can learn words through reading, but the listening is very important because you're going to have to hear how people sound when they speak, which also helps you learn how to speak, because you can even mimic them if you want. Uh, my last piece of advice, I had it and then it ran away from me. Let me think about this. What was my last piece of advice? Study what you're going to actually say. Um, Immerse yourself. What was my last piece of advice? I genuinely do not remember. It just like away from me. And it was very important. As my mother used to say, if it was important, then you would have remembered it. Well, I don't remember, but it was important. It was very important. Oh gosh, let me see some of these comments. He says, still preaching. Oh gosh. Let me look at these comments while I hope that I'll remember what it was that I wanted to say. We'll see. If you can't go travel and learn on the spot, immerse and listen as much as possible. Yes. Mm-hmm. Obviously speak. Oh, that's what it was. Speaking of immersing yourself, if you're not a repeat person, then I totally understand this does not work for you. But I believe that everything that you immerse yourself in, everything that you watch it again, but watch it differently. The first time you watch it, you're definitely going to have those subtitles on. If you are a person who likes to rewatch things, rewatch the same show and turn off the subtitles because now you at least know what the plot is. Right? So at this point, you would be listening, probably not understanding the Mandarin words, but you're understanding what's going on, right? So that is something that I also suggest. Rewatch it, turn off the subtitles. But if there come moments where you're like, crap, I don't remember what was going on in this section, obviously, turn them back on and have them. So that's my third piece of advice. Glad I remembered it because it was going to bug me because it felt like something that I should remember. Okay. One of the best things your Japanese school didn't learn English to Japanese, which helps you when you're not a native English speaker. Oh, you just learned Japanese and Japanese. Your cat stole your bed? Thief! Call the police. Send that cat to jail. Okay. Also, you guys, I got my hair to be a little bit more voluminous today. Unlike yesterday, it was like, yeah. And that was so random, so irrelevant. Watching Korean dramas, I did pick up on most used words. I should watch C-dramas. Yeah, like I'm not big on watching K-dramas, but in the period where I was watching them more often, I was like, hey, I'm recognizing some things, picking them up. I also, of course, was like, hey, that sounds like what they say in Mandarin, because of course between Mandarin, Japanese, and Korean, they share about 800 of the same vocabulary, which is really cool. Everything, including you, belongs to the cat. Clearly. You're very welcome, Cookielicious. The other thing I'll say is don't harp so much on the tones. Are they important? Absolutely they are. But don't be too hard on yourself about them, because I mean this in the most generalized way possible, but a Chinese person joked about it, so I'm going to say it as well. Although they technically say if you're a person of color, you can always joke about people of color regardless of the color. Chinese people are smart. So, like, sometimes, not every single time, but sometimes when you say something, if you say the wrong tone, they're gonna know what you meant, you know? And I think, what was the example that a Chinese comedian gave? She was like, someone was going into an Asian food market, and they were asking, 你有草莓? And Tao, which is the fourth tone, is for and May. Tao is like fuck. May is little sister. She's like, fuck your little sister. But you're in the Asian market looking for groceries. Obviously, they know you mean, Tao. I think it's Tao. Tao Mei, which is strawberries. So, like, don't sweat it too much, okay? Anyway, the writing. Hold on, I'll get to that. Mm. Eyes ads. Oh, I don't even think there was a setting. There wasn't anything on OBS that asked me if I wanted to have ads or not. So, hold on. Let me come in here and turn it off because I want to have the ads off while we're live, and then I'll just like go back and put the ads in when we're off the live. So 1 second, because I don't want anybody to edit, edit, edit. All right, it should be off now. I don't know if you'll have to like leave out and come in, but I turned off the ads. So anyway, what was I saying? It really helps you with conversation. It's very good. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So back to the writing. Thank you, Cookielicious. I was trying today. So when it comes to the writing, is it important? Yes. Is it the most important? No. Unless you plan to go live in China, it's not the most important thing in the world. This is the most important thing. Because I'll tell you, I live in Georgia. I've gone to our very small Chinatown. I've gone to other places, Chinese restaurants and all of that stuff. And guess what? All that mattered was that I could speak to them. And then they're like, oh, 你会说中文吗? Oh, wow. I didn't have to read anything. Like, I didn't. So is the writing important? Yes, but don't stress over it. But if you want to learn it, I would definitely say learn the fundamental radicals, which are basically the things you'll see in front of many characters. And like, this radical represents water. This radical represents animals. This radical represents man, or like human, I mean. So you can do that. That way, sometimes even if you don't recognize a word, you'll know it's a water word, You'll be like, huh. And again, only learn to write the words you're also going to speak. I didn't think learning the writing was that difficult, as long as I didn't stress on the order of writing. That's something important to say too. But as far as like remembering characters, which of course I lost a lot of them now with 3 years break, I thought it was very easy. It's just like we put too much pressure on ourselves and don't give our human capabilities enough credit. It's the same thing as when you're learning your own language. It takes time. Essentially, you become a baby when you start to learn a new language, and that takes years. I know there are so many people on YouTube like, I learned how to speak this language in a year and a half, and yes, they did, but they still have a learning process, So you're a baby when you start learning a new language, and you have to give yourself grace to just know that it's gonna take some time. It's not the fact that it's hard. It's not the fact that it's difficult. It's just the fact that it's something new. Like, that is really my personal opinion. I do not think that Mandarin is hard. I don't. If anything, I thought learning Spanish was harder than learning Mandarin. It's just new. It's unfamiliar. So you got to give your brain a chance to become familiar with it, and then things will make sense. Okay, I'm off of my little soapbox. So I've definitely missed some comments. My Chinese roommate told you that. Don't worry so much. Writing is fun if you have the time. Yeah, it's fun and it's super cool, but yeah, it's so not necessary. Especially, I'm not even gonna talk about Japanese. Anyway, you said you were blanking out so hard. It saves a lot of time just being able to recognize. Da-da-da. Hi everyone, I'm just finishing work and headed to my car to drive home. We'll listen until I'm home. Oh my gosh, hey, how's it going? I hope you're having a good day. You said there's also Google Translate and all that stuff. Yeah, there's all that. Even if it's not 100% correct, it's there for you, you know? Also, let me just make sure that I'm not missing anything. Okay, so Suki Hua had said that cat stole the bed. Here's the proof. I don't know if y'all can see that because I'm so delayed. Hold on, let me go on OBS to make sure I'm holding it up right. Here's the proof. The cat has stolen the bed. But Kitty is so cute. Kinda can't fault Kitty. Just saying. Okay. Just saying. So anyway, you can't read or write your own language well. That's crazy. You said your accent is too good. They think you speak amazing level and be like, oh, they really do. Like even if you just say ni hao, they'll be like, oh, because it's an honor, to see other people learning their language. So, you know. I really got to work on my Mandarin again. I don't know, maybe we can do some live study sessions to like get me back into it or something because it's a bit challenging to get back into it after so many years of a break. Yo. Anyway, everyone thinks your cat is adorable. Its name is Minnie. Well, hey, Minnie. So, okay, I think I have done enough chatterboxing for us on top of having the made for kids malfunction in the beginning. We're going to go ahead and get started after. I'm just kidding. So let's get to Thrice Married to a Salted Fish, which, by the way, I received a text message from Books A Million letting me know that volume 2 is being shipped. And I was like, yeah, or something like that. I think it said it just shipped. I actually didn't read it. I just saw that they messaged me and it said Thrice Married. Okay, yes. So, anyway, back to this. Very, very excited. We are covering chapters 6 through 10. Let's go ahead and put out the disclaimer. No spoilers for chapter 11 and forward, which I will say, if you listened to the link that I gave for the lady to read it to you if you didn't have it, I was listening to her this morning / afternoon to try to refresh my memory on what I read. And I got to chapter 8 and she spoiled me on something. The reader. She's and I was just like, oh. I was like, I mean, I suspected, but oh. I was kind of sad, I'm not gonna lie, before coming onto this live session. I felt like my whole world just like crumbled. So anyway, oh gosh. What did you say? Live study sessions sound amazing. Well, I just don't know what we would do because I'm not trying to like put more pressure on myself. Like it's not going to be like me forcing myself to study a different way for the camera. Like even if it's a quiet study session or if I occasionally say something out loud, would that be okay? And have some light music and we're just coming together to study? Because it's been so long since I've studied, I feel like it's gonna take a while before I actually start speaking again or anything like that. Um, so if you guys are interested in like study sessions like those, maybe not prompted, I'm not teaching y'all anything or nothing like that, then yeah, we can definitely do it to hold each other accountable. But yeah, whew, lordy. Um, okay, people are saying that sounds awesome. You said you can't listen to her. I only was doing it just to like refresh my memory. That's it. Yeah, that's why you stopped listening. I won't say what was said. Mm-mm. Yeah, my innocence. It's a bad week for me in spoilers. Yes, I got a spoiler. Actually, I got two spoilers in QJJ and one spoiler in Salted Fish. I was just like, can I not? Like, normally I don't have this problem. Can I not? Oh, I'm not telling you what was said, not at all. But yeah, I did have a hard time listening as well. I mean, I do like the lady's voice, and she was doing the characters and stuff, which is super awesome. But I think all of the live sessions were, I mean, all of the sessions were live at some point. So there was a lot of like um, more mistakes than I'm used to, or the a lot of interruptions basically during the live session, which I definitely understand circumstances and everything, but I was like, okay, never mind. So here we go. Have it as a quiet session to do anything while listening to music. Yes, QJJ. Yeah, I know. I was like, it does suck. Not QJJ. I was like, reading while live is too much chatter for me to focus on story. Honestly, that's one of the reasons why I don't do live readings all the time. Like, I applaud um, Brittany, because I actually do like their live sessions. Like, there are moments where Brittany will come off from the story to say something, but it's not every other second, and it's not a lot being said every time, which I appreciate, because it's really easy during live sessions to stop, read comments, say your thoughts and everything. And that's why the majority of the time I do a recording, and you just usually maybe get my reaction while reading, but I save everything till the end. And then, even in my live sessions now, what I try to do is read the entire chapter and then share some thoughts, then go to the next chapter, share some thoughts, since I'm not taking notes when live. Try to do it that way rather than just like saying everything that's on my mind or having so many breaks in between, all of that stuff. So, what are we saying? Trying to stay in the mind frame of where we so far, considering I'm ahead. So you might have to zip it on this session. Send me a message when you have time. I want to know what was spoiled. So curious. Please remind me to message you, because I definitely will forget after this session. So let's go ahead and get started, because I said that already, and then look at us now. So we are on chapter 6. Yes, it is a different type of vibe. So chapter 6. If I can just do it this way. So the previous chapter, remember, we left off with Lin Tingyu going home to visit his family. And like this, to visit his family, he went by himself, did not alert Lu Wancheng, and we all got annoyed by Tan Tijer. But then guess who shows up? Lu Wancheng. And he wants to support because he's grateful for the medicine and the acupuncture. But Lin Tingyu is like, bye, go back home. He's like, that's a bit much, pal. So that's how that starts. Yes, NFS, you shut up too. I normally don't say something like that, but shut up. Beats way. We just shut up, just so you guys know. Beats way. B is to close, like, I think, yes. And sway is mouth. So anyway, so Wan Chung then, after he's like, oh my gosh, that's a bit much, pal, which is funny because to say it that way, that's a bit much, pal. Like, I just feel like that's not how it would be said in ancient China. I think it's just all of my suspicions, all of our suspicions that we have, right? I don't mind beat swaying. What the heck? And so it says like he felt aggrieved and he just had this look on his face, but eventually, because he was like thinking, I made this laborious journey out here to come support you and you're telling me to turn around and go back home. Boo. And so eventually he does agree that he's going to go home, but then he's like, well, shouldn't I go inside to say hi? And I was like, right. So he's not going home. Like, that's how I felt. I was like, that's excuse number one. Excuse number one to stay is to go speak to the parents and the brother and say bye. So anyway, he goes in there and then he said he'll give the excuse that something came up. When they actually get in there, he says he feels unwell, which as soon as he said it, I was like, sir, those are not the same things. In fact, if you say you're feeling unwell, then you would be, you said it said so often. Then you would be, if you say you're unwell, then who would be willing to let you leave? You know, if you don't feel well, people aren't going to be like, okay, bye, like go ahead and go. They'll be like, oh, do you need to lay down? Do you need to sit down? And guess what happens? Qing Yu's mom, she was like, you can stay and rest here first. And then when you're feeling a little bit better, you can definitely, get up and go. You said excuses, priorities. In the beginning of this chapter, Lu Wancheng said something like it was thing to act like a nobleman, but he is a nobleman. Seems sus. In the beginning of this chapter, hold on. Good, why haven't you come in? To follow etiquette, shouldn't I go in and say goodbye? You ask me. I'm trying to find this comment you're saying is at the beginning of this chapter. Something about a nobleman. I won't be eating. Come in to say goodbye to my in-laws. Okay, I'm not seeing that comment. But anyway, I'm going to keep going. So, where was I on my note? So yeah, he says he's feeling unwell in front of the daddy, who also has a physician's hat. You hear someone's unwell, it's going to be like, oh, you're unwell? Hold on. Let me see what I can do. And Ling Qingyu knows that that's exactly what he's doing, but he's not going to call him out at the moment, even though he does end up getting called out. He said it might have been the end of the previous chapter. Well, let me look really quick then in the previous chapter. He's so handsome. What's going on? The wind is cold. It's on the first page of chapter 6. Oh, did I just skip it? You said he said something out loud? Because I looked at all of the quotes. It said, the only quote I see on this page is, all right, I'll just say that something suddenly came up. And then, Guga, why haven't you guys come in yet? Those are the only quotes on, so it must not be a quote, but just like wording. Yes, I'm seeing that. The one time I woke up 2 hours ago. I feel chagrined. Having feeling bad. The one time joined group was fun. Why was it so difficult to have dinner with the family? Arrive with gifts. Continue respect. It truly was chilly outside. Oh, it truly was chilly outside, and it was tiring to act like a nobleman. There we go. So not something that was said, just something that was in the paragraph. That's why I struggled so much. Oh gosh. I guess you could see that as sus. I didn't underline that or highlight it or anything. I guess I didn't see it as sus. I saw it as he just was tired of pretending, more so because like he's been sick his whole life. So Like, what's the point? But that is a good one to point out. Like, hmm. So it was there on the first page. Thank you. And yes, it was in head. So we found it. So anyway, then we have yes. So he said it in front of Ting Yu's dad, who's arguably the best physician in Great Yu. Let's just throw that out there, okay? And so next, all I have is why is Tan Teacher still here? Like, can you go away? Can you please go away? It is clever writing. Um, I'm like, can you go away, sir? Because Tan Teacher is here and he's like, oh, you're leaving? You just got here. Why not have a meal? Sir, weren't you supposed to be gone? And so then, hold on. Let me get to the next page. Then we have also, I did underline it said, to lazy people, eating was even more important than sleeping. Because, of course, Lu Wan Chong was like, oh, yeah, sure. Well, why not stay then? Right? So I just thought, I felt a little called out because, of course, he was like, I want to try the plum blossom cake. But for this quote to be here to say to lazy people, eating is more important than sleeping, I'm a little offended, slightly offended, feeling slightly called out. But anyway, Tan teacher, the hell are you still doing here? So then it goes on, and he's like, well, I'm fortunate to be here today, and I believe that the Marquess is benevolent and open minded, so he wouldn't stop you from drinking with me like some overly traditional minds would. Let's go back to the previous chapter. Who was it that said, oh no, it would be inappropriate of me to drink with you? But now that the husband is here, then you want to throw this out there so you can stay and be nosy? Sir, as my husband says, not me, sit Chaz down somewhere. Chaz, like, he doesn't like to cuss, so Chaz, sit Chaz down somewhere. Cause what are we doing? Like, oh my gosh, yes, he's jealous, he's envious, and it's just like you are so contradictory. Okay, what are you still doing here? So then we have just Wan Chang. This is why I love his character so much because he starts off by being like, oh, yeah, sure, we're all men. Like, what's there to be suspicious about? What's there to be reserved about and everything? And of course, Qing Yu is like, sir, I literally want to poison you right now because why are you making this so difficult for me? Like, let me just stick those next time you get acupuncture, I'm going to stick them in all the wrong places. Like, he's upset. But he didn't realize that Luan Chang was going to find this lovely way, this roundabout way to kick out teacher, which I really appreciated because he was like, hey, are you married? I was like, yeah, I'm married. Wouldn't your wife be offended if you were here drinking with us? This married couple. He's like, why would she be offended? That's not even taboo. He's like, but you never know. She might be offended. Find out you drinking with a newly married man and his husband. I don't know. So I was like, this is gold. Thank you. He's like, you can never be sure. So next time, though, for sure. That next time was his way of saying, not this one, bye, leave. And I just love that so much. And so obviously, it was clear to everyone, even the little 6-year old, like, oh, so he's leaving, right? So then we get to a little bit of a point where it mentions, which I had highlighted this in the previous chapter, but it said Lin Qingyu's father was already unhappy with Tan Tijia over what he'd said before. So for anyone who needs that reference, that is going to be page 57 of chapter 5, when he said, did you hide all the good gifts because you didn't want to give them to your parents, Qing Yu Xiong? He said it jokingly, and it was like his father was like, don't say nonsense. Don't say such nonsense. So the daddy was still fuming about that. So he wasn't trying to help him at all. He was like, "Yeah, you can get going. I'm tired of you today. Like, get out, because I don't want you here anymore." And so then, as Cheeger is leaving, Luan Chang is like, "Oh, by the way," and not talking to him, but definitely loud enough so that he can hear. I brought home the chests with all those gifts in them. It's five of them, by the way. Go ahead and bring them over. I was like, again, I need this man in my circle. I need him to be real and to be my friend. Because that was just perfect. You said he's quick witted. Yes. Um, Ling Tingyu is there for the plum cakes. Look, and apparently so is the Wan Chong. A power couple. Both of them are wonderful personalities, truly. So anyway, that just made me laugh. And then it says Tan Chijer gritted his teeth, yanking the jade pendant off his waist sash. And I just underlined it and I was like, was that necessary? So let us continue. So of course we have them having their little family dinner, right? And Tingyu and Wan Chung are looking very intimate with each other because they're like whispering in each other's ear. And Tingyu's parents have like this conflicted expression, like, what's this? Because they're looking like so intimate, whispering into each other's ears. Meanwhile, not saying the exact words, but Chingy is like, "What the hell you think you're doing?" "Well, I was just trying to help you out. My God, I'm coming here to support you. Did I ask you to come here to support me? No, you didn't. But, just for appearances and everything. And obviously you were annoyed by that guy. You know what? Next time I give you acupuncture, I'm going to stab you in all the wrong places. And I might slip some poison in your food. That's not very nice. That's not very nice. Why are you always so angry? You might die from all your anger." That's what the conversation really was. Meanwhile, it looked very intimate. So I just thought that was really funny. Um, so it was said, after finish eating, let's have someone, I'm sorry. Yeah, after they finished eating, his dad, Tingyu's dad, was like, "Hey, let me take a look at you. I've heard about your condition. You don't mind that, right?" Of course, he doesn't mind. Because why would he? So let me see. My next note says, hold up. Tingyu's dad is really on his side. And I think y'all know what I mean when I say that. One second. I feel like we're going to have a protection squad in every series that we read. Like, oh my gosh. Ah, adorable. That part had me rolling. Yes. Oh, the Sweet Nothings edition. So, of course, his dad looked at him and, he's like, he's lucky to be alive at 19 years old. Like, this guy is truly a goner. But the reason I say that his dad is really on his side is because he's like, he's got about half a year left. Dude's hanging on by a thread. But then he was like, I might have a method that could give him a year. Its side effects are major. It could increase his pain, but I got the method. So Chingy is, of course, like, what's that method? And his father's like, I can write the prescription for you. But let me ask you, do you want him to live that extra half of a year? Because I don't have to give it to you. Like, we're not obligated to help him live longer. I know what you wanted to do in life, son. If you want him to die in 6 months, I don't gotta give this to you. Cool points for daddy. Cool points for daddy. And again, it was just really nice to see because clearly they supported his decision the first time when he rejected the proposal. They weren't telling him, no, you need to do this. Only reason it was done is because of a stupid imperial edict. So I love that right there. So anyway, like I said, we have that medicine and everything. Then I'm going to move over to page 68. Oh, and I said, so that's why. Page 65. Sometimes my notes don't make sense to me, but let's figure it out. Page 68, arrow, page 65 on I see it was. Oh, right. So when I underlined and I was like, was that necessary for Tan Teacher to throw his jade pendant off his waist? Yes, it was. Because he threw it somewhere to pretend like he lost it so that he could still stay and get the tea. But at least that's what I thought. It was to get the tea, which it probably still was to get the tea. He said that he was missing his jade pendant and he needed help looking for it. Now, mind you, Tingyu is like, you could have just looked for it in the front hall. Clearly, you have something you want to say to me. So, how about you just say it? Like, let's not pretend. I'm not an idiot, my guy. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I can't hide anything from you. I'll be honest. I do have something that I want to say, and it's kind of important. So, at least at that point, I was like, okay, at least he's not going to keep pretending because I would have been upset. Like, please just shut up. But he was like, yeah, you're right. I have something I want to say to you. It's okay, Mari. Sometimes wonder why I wrote in my notes too. No, for real. I'm like, huh? What did I mean by that? These notes are supposed to be clear so that when I talk about it to the readers, we know what's happening. So, this scene irked the hell out of me, y'all. It irked the hell out of me. At least I can read my notes. And here's why it irked me. Because teacher decided to poke at Qingyu's sore spots, right? He says, you know, the entrance exam for the Imperial Academy of Medicine is fast approaching. No shit. Yeah, he knows. Because he can't participate. That's what he's been studying for all these years. And was super excited for, only to have it yanked from him. Yeah, he knows. Why you gotta bring it up? Huh? So then it goes on, and Tingyu, I love how he just does not take anything lying down. He was like, oh yeah. Because the guy, he was like, I'm not feeling confident. And he was like, of course not. It makes sense that you don't feel confident considering that you failed it before. I was like, well, let me just go ahead and grab my melon seeds. That was perfect. He said, to the well. Yes, to the well. For those of you who don't know, who aren't part of the Discord, which I need to get back to it, so that way we can have it by the end of this series, or at least this volume, we are now creating a character tier chart. And on this character tier chart, it is going to be our rankings of characters for the series that we read and just how we feel about them. Not necessarily putting them in the category of what they are. You know, like we're not going to have a category called sickly people. And we're not going to put Cui Buchu and Shen Lanzhou and at one point, you know, Shen Qiao in there. But it's specifically just for how we feel. And so right now, one, two, three, four. We have four character tiers. Um, Still finalizing everything. I'm not going to give you guys all of the names yet because I want to reserve them. But we have a tier for people who give main character energy but are not the main character. And because because Megan said to the whale, I mean the well, there's definitely that category. I think it's pretty clear from QJJ, if you're listening to it, that the well represents people I want to die and I want them to be gone immediately. Immediately kill, unalive this person. So we have that category. We also have a category for characters we absolutely need to protect. We must protect them at all costs. So obviously, um, you know, I think it was already said Wan Chung needs to go into that category. And then, so the next one we have is characters who make bad decisions, but we support them anyway. We need a few more categories because I feel like we're missing some. And that's what, four? So we'll figure some more out. And we're putting like really cool, interesting titles for them to have it fun and interesting. So obviously, I will mention this one since it was said. Yes, we do have a category. It's not to the well, but I think I'm gonna change it to that because it was throw them down the well. But to the well, I'm gonna change it to the well. Off with their heads, essentially. And another one was called Your Honor, I Can Explain. So just you guys be thinking about that. And if you have some interesting categories you would like and maybe a title for that category, I will add it. We don't want to have too many categories, of course, but I think that would be really, really cool. So just letting y'all know that. To the well, Tanseeger can go. Absolutely. He can die. I just really don't care about his character. um, he said he totally deserved that. Lean Tingyu edition, come back here for more. Didn't know if someone is not up to date with QJJ, removed it. Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, because we don't know. People may not have watched the final chapters just yet. Please listen to those final chapters. You will not regret it. Okay? You will not regret it. But anyway, before I get too carried away, so yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I mean, you failed 3 years ago, so it's understandable that you're not confident." And he poked Teacher's sore spot right back. And then I love it because he's like, "Well, this time I studied real hard, day and night, relentlessly." And he's like, "Yeah, slow-witted people tend to start early." Diligence can make up for ineptitude. You've done well. I was like, sir, pew pew. I feel like Chijo's just getting arrow to the heart, arrow to the lungs, arrow to the head. Because like, boy, whoo, that was perfect. So anyway, the reason why I find this funny, other than that, is because then after that, Tanjiro is like he couldn't handle it anymore, and then he had this dark expression on his first, I mean on his face, and he eventually says, "At least I can take the exam this year." He's trying to get he's trying to get his ass whooped. And so, oh my gosh. I was like, the audacity. And then he goes on to say, so Tanjiro, after saying, "At least I can take the exam this year," decides, I know you have lots of medical books in your collection. Since you won't be using them anymore, why not lend me a couple? If I pass the exam, I'll thank you profusely. So here is where I was so annoyed with him, despite the fact that this whole scene was funny. Because, sir, that is not how you ask for favors. That is not how you ask someone for something. You want his books. You want to study Tingyu's books, but you're poking his sore spot like, "Hey, we got the exam approaching. Huh? Oh, at least I can take the exam." Okay. You keep that up. Keep that energy and watch what happens. And so you said can't wait for his annoying ass to fall again. Not spoiler, just willing it into existence. Yes, let's will it into existence. So I'm like, that's not how you. If you wanted his books, this conversation should have maybe not started differently. Actually, no. Yes, it should have started differently. You shouldn't have started it with, "Hey, the entrance exam is coming up." Obviously, he knows. Like, you could have just cut to the chase, been like, "Hey, I was wondering if I could, ask you for a favor." Or even if you wanted to address the real elephant in the room, because no matter what, it was going to be a difficult subject. You could have been like, "Hey, I know this may not be something you want to discuss, but I just wanted to ask, like, could I borrow your medical books for the Imperial Academy of Medicine entrance exam, I could really use the extra material for studying. Was that so hard? Was that so hard? It was not. Not at all. You were so mad. You would love a category for salty characters. Maybe call them salt that fish. Okay, I'm gonna put it. Oh, hold on. I didn't. I left the document. I'm gonna move it. Um. So let's. I'm trying to think of. Oh, I like your idea, but want to modify it a little bit because technically, that is just a category. That's just categorizing the character and saying what their personality is, not necessarily how we feel about them. Like Tingyu is salty, so he would be a salty character, but I want it to be more so about how we feel about it. So I do like the title, Salt That Fish. That's very interesting. But I'm trying to think about how we would categorize that character, that section for how we feel about sassy characters. Like, salt that fish. Um, we. I'll figure out how to word it later. Characters we love, even with all their sass. Because some characters we might not love when they're sassy. Honestly, I feel like Ton Teacher is a bit sassy, and I don't like it. So there we go. I just was trying to figure out a different way to word the description for it. So salt that fish, characters we love, even with all their sass. Okay. Boom. Figured it out. Yan Wusher, Chu Tingyu, Lanjo. Just put them all in there. Oh. We want to, for characters who we want to speak down to. Some characters you just want to berate. Huh, NFS? You have some characters that you just want to have a little yell sesh. You love Shunzu Chuan type sass. Me too. His sass is some of my favorite, as well as Cui Buchu, obviously. Y'all know Cui Buchu is officially my new show favorite. It used to be Xie Lian, and then for the longest it was Shen Xiao, but it's definitely Cui Buchu, even though Shen Chuan is he's pushing his way there, so I don't know. So let's continue. So anyway, then more sass, right? Because we have Lanjo and Chuya both. You know, the interesting thing is, I don't know if I would, this is my personal opinion, if I would say that Chuya has sass. More so, I think he just has, like, swag. He's swagadocious all the way. You have to go, okay, bye, Suki. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow. If you've read or if you're up to date on QJJ or will be, you can see you tomorrow. Maybe, maybe not. Have an excellent day. Okay, I think that was all the goodbyes I need to say. So then Tingyu goes on to be like, would you even be able to understand the content that is inside of my book? Ow, that hurt just a little. I was like, sir, I need you in my circle too. Yes, Yenwu sure has sass. Absolutely. Not swag, but sass. That's a gong that has sass. And Feng Xiao also has sass. Them sassy little mofos. So anyway, that's the interaction between them. He was like, you wouldn't be able to understand my books. And then he's done with him. And he's like, Huan Tong, please see him out. I'm tired of dealing with this dude. I'm tired of dealing with this mofo. So just take him and leave. So there was that. We've been in this chapter forever. We're almost done. Where are we? Page 69. I said that already. Ask for his books. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then we eventually get to a point where he goes to see Wan Chung, who is resting for a little bit, and he can tell that he's upset. And he's like, teacher's gone. Why are you upset again? Like, who upset you this time? And he's like, nobody. And then he goes ahead to tell him, like, okay, fine, it was him. And then before we even get there, we have Wan Chung saying some words that I think are very important. And I'm going to type them into the chat. Does anybody else think that this line is essential to life? I want to be a quilt. We all weak to some good sass. I feel like that's so innuendoed. Just take off the S at the beginning. This is why this is not for kids. But anyway, I want to be a quilt. Yes, exactly. Everybody's like, yes, yes. So anyway, I just had to point that out. So anyway, Qingyu goes on to tell him, basically, Tanjiro is getting to take the exam and he has to borrow my books. And he's like, so Wan Chung is like, he said, life philosophy. He said, Tanjiro isn't as good as a single hair on your head. If you waste your anger on him, you'll be lowering yourself. Treat him as a joke or tease him. At least you'll have fun that way. And he did tease him. So I just thought that encouragement was so wonderful. He was like, he can't even compare to like one little strand. Forget him. Who cares about him? Which was super great. This constant 2-degree weather is wanting you to be a quilt too. We haven't had 2-degree weather, so what's my excuse? Someone just give me one because I want to be a quilt. And so, of course, Qingyu is like, I know that he's a mediocre man. And, a few years ago, he couldn't even tell the difference between this and that, which, were some herbs that were difficult to distinguish between. And he's just like, it's just sucky that he gets to take this exam and I'm not able to take this exam. And so Wan Chung is basically telling him that, oh yes, he's like, of course it's my fault, or my household's fault that you can't. He's like, I'll try dying faster. I was like, please don't say that. But anyway, and then eventually he's like, okay, let's not be angry anymore. You're visiting your family. Isn't this where you should be happy, where you should be smiling and everything? And I love that. And then at the end he says, don't compare yourself to others. And I agreed. Because it was like, yeah, it sucks. Teacher can take the exam and you can't. But what are you going to do with your current predicament? So, there's nothing to be done about this. This was the imperial edict. There's no point in comparing yourself. It's already one thing to compare yourself to someone else in regards to something you are doing. If you're painting, comparing yourself to other painters. But he's like, you can't do this anymore. So what's the point of the comparison? You gotta look at other things. So I was very happy to see that he was very sincere about that. So then we move on to chapter 7. I am never able to get these off the first time. Comparison is the thief of joy. Say it again for the people in the back, Cookielicious. So we move on to chapter 7. Finally, feel like it took us a century to get here. Oh, that's really cold. Also, where's my... Y'all left my water in the kitchen. My tea. Oh well, I don't feel like getting up. So, there's water and grapes. We're on chapter 7. And they get everything packed. And then they bid farewell to the family, of course. And it's so sad because We have here where it says, though the Lin residence and the Marquess of Nanan residence were both in the capital, it wasn't easy for Lin Tingyu to return home. He was required to obtain the Marchioness's permission, and he could only go a few times a year. Y'all, in the capital, he has to get permission to visit his own family. And then he can't even do it that often? Okay. I just think that that sucks so much, and it was very frustrating. Okay. So and the fact that he has to get Lady Liang's permission just makes this worse because we don't like Lady Liang. I'm not going to say to the well for her just yet, but I feel like she's eventually going to end up there. But I don't want to put her there prematurely. Anyway, so then I also felt bad for Huan Tong because Huan Tong is the boy that grew up with Ting Yu all of both of their lives, right? And when Ting Yu went to the Nan'an residence, he didn't want to bring Huan Tong along. He didn't want him to have to deal with any of these issues that are in the house, and he left him. Meanwhile, Huan Tong feels listless, if you will. He feels like he's lacking purpose because this is all that he has ever known, you know? And it's interesting because it said that Qing Yu didn't want his life to be ruined. Let me see. Um, yeah, he didn't want his future to be ruined. But it's like, what future? This was what he was raised to do. He was raised to serve you. And there's nothing wrong with, being a servant. And your family also treated him well to the degree that he wanted to keep serving you, and you left him behind. And he didn't know what to do with himself. And he was like looking at Tingyu's mom like, please help me. Convince him to let me go. Like, let him take me with him, please. And of course, she does her thing, right? She does her thing and helps him beg. So she's like, you should take him with you. Your father and I would feel more at ease too. And we know that he cares about his mother and father. So hearing that, he's like, all right, pack your things and get in the carriage then. And he's like, yay! He was like, yay! So interesting. But so of course Luan Chung is like, there are only girls there, so this would be cool. We've got another guy. Yay. Anyway, then I have a highlight. Well, yes, where we have Tingyu just basically saying, he's a young man. I didn't want him to be trapped in the inner chambers with me. And Wanchong is like, what's wrong with the inner chambers? You have grand ambitions and everything, so you see it as trapped. But me, I got food, I got drink, I don't have a job. It's amazing. And so then Ling Tingyu says, people on different paths can't make plans together. I highlighted this because 我不同意. I disagree. I wholly disagree that people on different paths cannot make plans together. It doesn't matter what path you're on as long as those paths aren't leading you guys away from each other. If they're so conflicting that you're gonna have to leave someone behind, or you're gonna have to sacrifice something from vital from the other person, on their journey. But people's paths do not have to perfectly align. It's even something as simple as someone, yes, wanting to be a salted fish and someone who has great ambition. Why do both people have to have great ambition? The person with the great ambitions can take care of the salted fish. I mean, when it comes to like my husband and my's path, he is on the path to make as much money as he can because he wants to provide for the household, not because he thinks like I can't or women shouldn't be working, but based on his personal values, he doesn't want me to have to work at all. If I want to work, fine. He doesn't want me to have to work. But there was a point in time where my mindset did not align with that. And I was like, no, I need to work. I need to make money. We are both adults. I was taught to rely on myself, so we are both going to do this. Those paths didn't necessarily align with each other. He preferred me to stay at home and spend, as he says, spend my days doing whatever I want to. But I was like, no, I need to spend my days working just like you. But we were still making it work. I mean, now we've gotten to a point where I did realize, no, I don't want to be out there in them streets. I do want to be home. I do want to be home and let him take care of me. I'm still making money, but well, part of it's from regular work, part of it is from doing what I want, and eventually I hope that it can just be strictly doing what I want. But the paths didn't always align. Values do not always have to align. What matters is that your values are not so conflicting that it would cause strife in one's relationship. You know, don't have to be on the same path. That is why people who, for instance, have different religions are able to make their marriages work, because marriage isn't just about, oh, we have the same religion. Like, religion is not a person's identity. That you might identify as, like, a child of God or something like that. But there's so much more to a person than just like one thing. So I completely disagreed with Lin Yu when he said that. I was like, you go and be ambitious and come home to your little fish that got some salt sprinkled on it. Okay? It works. It works out just fine. So I'm off of my little soapbox. You said premature well. I missed that comment. I disagree. That's why you made. I was reading the comment with. Okay. So, yeah. Now that I'm done with that, let me continue finding my spot. It was page 74. Okay. So, yes. Then I have, when they were leaving, his brother was like, bye. And he was like, bye, Wanchung, good, good, and everything. And Wanchung really likes the little brother, Ting He. And Ting Yu basically gives him a roundabout compliment. And he's like, I mean, you're my brother likes to be around good looking people. That's something I wasn't able to fix. And Wanchung was like, are you complimenting me? And he was like, I mean, you all right, I suppose. Which I thought was funny. So he's like, I just got a compliment. Look at me. I'm feeling pretty good. So then, as we keep reading, we get to the bottom of this. More sus, right? Because Lu Wancheng, he eventually says, ooh, when he's talking about good looks and everything, he says, hold on, someone's seen it all and she told me, because he called Lin Tingyu the most beautiful of them all. And he was like, there are so many people in this world. Like, how could you just say that I'm the most beautiful? You haven't seen everyone. And he's like, well, someone has, and she told me. And then he goes to say, she even told me that my face is ranked in the top 5 of the novel. In the Great Yu Empire, I mean. But I think it's just average. Worse than my old one. So I think we could just go ahead and finalize in our minds that Wan Chang is indeed a transmigrator. Because he said it here. His face is ranked the top 5 of the novel. Also, let's not even put that he said a novel, because if he said a novel, that could have been like, any books that were being sold on the streets. But the novel, as in the book you are in, he's like, yeah, I'm one of the top 5 in the novel, this novel. I was like, huh? And then he's saying that he apparently looked better in his in his past life. So I'm like, okay, alrighty, cool. So yes, he's a transmigrator. Period. I don't care. It is. Now I just need it to be confirmed, but like it's confirmed. But I need it to be more confirmed, confirmadored, confirmadored. I'm trying to figure out what I was trying to say in my head with this whole confirmed, and it's not working. So we're going to leave it alone. Boom, transmigrator. humble brag, right? He's like, this is not as good as my last life, you know. It's like, sir, okay. Toot your own horn, if you will, from your past life, your old life. You said also love him getting every chance just to call him beautiful. I sense some Riz. Yes. He is always calling him beautiful. I think that's hilarious. But I also think it's like, on a real, speaking about, guys who are always like, yes, it's more confirmed. I said more confirmed, but I was trying to make up a word and it just wasn't working out. Like if you say smart versus smarter or more smart, I was trying to say more confirmeder. Is what I was trying to say. So just don't mind me and my weird Mari English. So I don't even know what I was saying. Oh yeah, but like I think it's great when men, regardless of their sexuality, can admire another man and be like, "Wow, you're really handsome or you're really beautiful," or whatever the case may be. And I feel like that's totally him. He's in his straight era. And the fact that he keeps calling Tingyu beautiful is just so beautiful. It's so wonderful. So then we move on. And I just have to say that I feel like it is super sad that Tingyu always feels like he has to be on his toes. Because he was thinking about how when they return home, that Lady Liang is going to throw those 5 chests in his face. Some way, somehow, right? I said straight as my hair. You see, as straight as this piece of hair right here. Hold on. It's straight. Y'all see the little curls in there? Hold on. He's about as straight as my hair. You appreciate someone who admires beauty. Yes. So, but yeah, he's like, more than likely, she's going to be throwing that in his face indirectly, of course, and he's going to be annoyed as hell. So they get back home. I have so many notes that just say these rules. Actually, let me show y'all this one because of the face. These rules. I'm sick of these rules that the non-on household has. What are we doing, right? Because here it is that yeah. So after this long day of travel to his parents' place and their long day of travel back home, what does he have to do? What do they both have to do? They have to go and see Lady Liang in the pavilion, greet her because they came back. They just have to greet her. Like, I'm sorry. I just made this 8-hour drive to St. Louis, spent time with my family, then did a turn and burn. Then I spent 8 hours driving back home. And you mean to tell me that I gotta come see you to greet you from my journey back home? Just come to my apartment if you want to see me that bad. Like, gosh. Like, why can't she just go to, what is it, Lanfeng Pavilion? Yes. They had a long journey, and your son is ill. He already has trouble traveling. It was such a laborious journey, even if he didn't do anything, for him to get there. He said it took 2 hours, then spend time there, and then 2 hours back. So these rules piss me off. He said, you don't think it's a spoiler to say the moment he realizes he may not be, in fact, fully straight is one of my faves. I can't wait till we get there. Is it in volume 1 at least? It better be. I'm be mad. No, I'm kidding. I won't be mad. So anyway, these rules just piss me off. And I hate that Tingyu is always on his toes in this household. You should never live somewhere where you feel like you always have to be on your toes. Obviously, from my upbringing, I know what that's like. But even something as simple as like the last apartment we lived in, that whole community has a roach problem. So like no matter how many times I cleaned, they would come every day from the same spot in the kitchen. So like there was a specific spot and they needed that warmth in the winter because they really weren't there in the summer. And I felt like I was always on guard going into my kitchen. Like actually had the pet spray, I mean pest spray, and I was like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And I just feel like that's what Tingyu is experiencing. He's like, "Okay, who else is it that I need to guard against?" Like, okay, she's gonna use this against me, gonna use that against me, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like, go away and stay away. Anyway, yes, the hypervigilance is hard. Pity he friend zones himself before. Uh oh. Yeah, I'm not saying he's straight. That might be a spoiler. I thought so. And I was like, I'm just going to say that's because he calls himself straight. Please let it be that. Remember, y'all, don't spoil things. But I already read it, so it's there. So then we get to. Sorry, I'm like having to find myself after my little rant and spray bug scenario with water. Okay, yeah, so I said let them rest. So they get there, right? And Wan Chung tells Lady Liang that he sent the gifts that were specifically from his birth mother's dowry. Again, I say, can I have him in my friend circle? Because I know without a shadow of a doubt that that was him thinking about Lin Tingyu and knowing how Lady Liang is, probably figuring that she would try to throw it in his face that he gave more treasures, if you will, than should have gone out. Like, oh, you're only supposed to get two. You got three extra. But he's like, yeah, these didn't come from you. They came from my birth mom. Just so you know. Okay. I like him so much. Like I really like his character. So I was like, thank you for looking out for your man. He may not be your man in your heart romantically just yet, but he is your man. Like you trying to be his friend at the very least, but he just be so like standoffish and leave me alone. I don't want to deal with you, salted fish. But we just gonna wheedle our way in a little bit at a time. I'm just like, he's so awesome. Like, oh my gosh, who were you in your previous life? I hope you were well loved. I really, really do. So then we move on to page 78, which apparently I have notes. And it says, oh, so we learn a little bit. You said, you are sold. Yes, I am sold. You no longer have to put me up on the altar and on the auction. It's so awful. You don't have to put me on the auction block. I am sold on Wan Chung. Like that's it. Was that an awful joke? Again, I'm black, so I can joke about it. Um, so anyway, we get a little background on Wan Chung and Lady Liang. So Wan Chung's Wan Chung's birth mother is not Lady Liang. Okay? It ain't her. So that automatically lets us know, like, okay, for sure, we know why she tripping. Because it ain't her child. So apparently his birth mother was the first wife of the Marquess. And she was also the Duke of Wen, which is the most powerful person in the capital. The guy had two daughters. One of them married into the Marquess of Nanan's house, and the other is the Empress. The Empress, she was the Empress's sister. Yeah, she's dead now. She died from blood loss while giving birth to Wan Chung. But the first wife of Nan An, Lu Wan Chung's mother, was the sister of the Empress. His auntie is the Empress. And so it makes so much sense now why the Empress was willing to help Lady Liang. Because really, that is her nephew. Like, that's her sister's son. And he's about to die? No. If this superstitious stuff will help, let's find someone to marry my sister's son so that he could hopefully live longer. Lady Liang knew what she was doing. She was like, yeah, I'm gonna ask the Empress. Of course the Empress is gonna help me. Because the Empress will want to save her sister's son, her nephew. My mind was just a tiny bit blown after reading that. So anyway, what I said, now it makes sense. Oh, that's the note I just read. Yeah, because they're blood related. Yeah. Anyway, so eventually we have it, it's getting warmer and everything, and Wan Chung doesn't need his wheelchair that much. Off topic, you give me grape cravings. Is it me eating them, or is it the fact that you can hear me chewing them? Also, does that annoy anybody that you can hear me chewing them? Because if so, I won't eat them anymore. I'll wait till people answer. Like, I've just been popping them in every now and then. But if it's an annoying sound, then I won't. Obviously, it's not annoying for NFS because I'm making NFS want them. But he's able to stand. Yay. And to walk around, which is like super duper cool. And he's got a pet bird. He said, nah. Are the grapes frozen again? A couple of them are frozen. I only have about 5 frozen ones left. The other ones didn't have enough time in the freezer because I meant to put them in earlier, but I was nauseous when I woke up this morning. So everything that I was going to do before work, I didn't. So they didn't have enough time in the freezer. They're just regular. So some of them are slushy like, and the others are just regular. It doesn't bother you. No, I got you, NFS. Hold on. Okay. Okay, if you can see the browner ones or the wetter looking ones, those are the ones that were frozen. They're melting the ice off. Okay, did you grab a couple? So, pop off with your grapes. The... Oh, I'm so sorry. You had to prepare frozen grapes in advance for this live. Hey, look at me. I'm not really setting a trend, but look at me encouraging. Okay, so next time I'm gonna come with my frozen grape sorbet tomorrow. So, anyway, so we get to page 79. And what else do I have here? Oh yes. Wan Chung, before we get there, he why didn't I write that? I don't know. One second. Okay, so anyway, remind you of Tongkulu. Oh, I've actually never had that before, but I want to try it one day. So, they're in bed at night, and Wan Chung is asked by Ting Yu. He was like, "Are you asleep?" He's like, "No, I'm not." I knew what you meant, which is why I just said it for you. And he's like, "No, I'm not asleep." And then he's like, "You're actually not stupid." And Wan Chung is like, of course I'm not. I was the top of my class. And so Ting Yu is just like, somebody as lazy as you. And Wan Chung is basically like, yeah, not liking to study and being the top of my class are not mutually exclusive. Like, just because I didn't like it didn't mean that I wouldn't do it if I felt it was beneficial for me. I'm a salted fish, but I know how to get down and dirty when I need to, essentially. So I just thought that was really, really funny. Then we move on, and eventually we learn that, of course, other than sleeping, our little salted fish has some hobbies that he likes. He's got him a pet bird, And he likes lazy boy activities, all right? He likes to pet that bird, walk that bird, appreciate the flowers, probably with that bird, play pitch pot, and watch theater. For anyone who doesn't know what pitch pot is, that is when there's a pot, usually a taller, skinny one that's at a distance, and they just throw arrows to them. Y'all seen him in the ancient Chinese dramas, probably. Yeah. So he likes to do all of those things. And honestly, I I'm here for it. But on that same page, I think it's super nice that Qingyu is messing around with the prescription that his father gave him. So now we know that he ended up taking it, probably just thinking about it, right? But he's messing around with the prescription that extends Wan Cheng's life to see if there are some less intense ingredients that would suffice to replace other ones. You know, and of course, he just said he's just wondering. He hadn't decided yet if he would give it to Wan Cheng. He was just wondering. I was like, right. You're just wondering. You're just experimenting. Okay. All right. No. What happened? So then we get to the next page. He's studying and everything, and we get this crisp bird sound, as it says. And the bird sounds cute, but of course he's working, so he don't want to hear that bird sound. So he tried to ignore it at first, but then he was like, "Hey, shut your bird up." And Lu Wancheng invites him out to, come chill with him, and he was like, "No, I need to study." And I thought it was interesting because it said, he was looking at Wan Cheng, and even though he was like pale and everything, he was handsome with like this lazy, handsome drunkard appearance, and he had an unusual feeling. What was that unusual feeling? But anyway, it was like he felt like he shouldn't be this frail guy, but that he should be like this really healthy, robust person who was riding valiantly on horses. And women were like, "Oh my gosh," basically. Which I thought was pretty funny. And even Huan Tong was like, "Come out and play with us." And he was like, "I will forget my ambitions if I come out to play. I am not going to keep y'all company." Really quickly, I want to also show y'all the picture. Look at him. Yes, finally picture. On page 81. I was like, it took entirely too long for us to get a picture. But you know what? It's cute. He's handsome. I can put pictures of the IRL bird in Discord. Thank you, because I haven't figured out how to share my screen on here yet. I didn't realize until too late. Oh, that's something I need to learn how to do, which is probably very simple. But yeah, I didn't do that. So, um, yeah. Let me see. Then we move to the next page. Of course, Wan Cheng calls him boring. And then, let me see. I said Wan Cheng's bird is so cute. Why did I say it was so cute? Probably because I looked it up. Because this dude has more than one bird. Hold on. Fragile, sickly beauty. Okay, you know what? I think it might say later. No, it was a laughing thrush. A laughing thrush. Which I think, let me see if it's been put in Discord just yet. Not yet. All right, I'm going to see if I can. Laughing thrush bird. I'm going to see if I can take a moment to figure out how to share my screen. And if not, we'll leave it alone. Oh, here we go. It's in Discord. Audio input capture, browser. Image, media source, scene. I don't know what that would be. Hold on. Oh, wait. I'm in the wrong thing. Uh, I don't know how to do it at the moment, and I don't want to mess anything up. So I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna show you on my phone. So it says um, that this is Wan Chung's bird. It's cute. My picture is a little weird, but that's what Neko has given us. When I looked up a laughing thrush, I saw some different ones come up, so it probably, looks different depending on where you are. But I did want to show you all a couple of other options of what it could look like. Because also, look at this one. Aren't these so cute? And this one's a little fatty. So cute. So then the other thing that I wanted to do for you guys, because I liked it the other day, and I was like, yes, every one of us must know what a laughing thrush sounds like. So give me just a moment to. Laughing thrush call. Which video specifically did I? Where'd it go? Ah, it was this one. Hold on. I'm gonna figure out how to share on OBS eventually. Hold on. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh. Not gonna lie, that's a pretty cool sound. Here's another one. I think this one may match more the one. Birds be having multiple sounds. Aren't those so pretty? I don't know what they sounded like for you guys, um, audio quality wise, but y'all, so pretty. So anyway, you said that's your alarm? What a way to wake up. You can see why Yu wasn't able to concentrate. Yeah, he was like, it's really nice to listen to if I'm just relaxing. I'm trying to study. So, anyway, he didn't want to study with them. He ends up falling. Um, actually, basically, they hear a sound coming from there, and they go in to see that he has hurt himself. Is all it is. He's like, I'm fine. Um, hold on. Yeah, he just said he missed the step putting his book away. So then after that, Wan Chung is like, "Oh, well, I'll carry you back to, the bedroom and we can apply the medicine you said you have." And he's like, "Did this man forget that he is ill? Like, what are we doing?" And he tries to pick him up, and he essentially fails. I'm going to say he flings him, but that's not necessarily the case. He fails because his body is weak. And it said, what was wrong with him? Had he suddenly forgotten he was weak? And it was like, oh, then it hit him on the next page when he was like, I'm not, oh. So then Huan Tong ends up having to do it. And at the end of the chapter, you know, he abruptly laughs when they get to the bedroom and he's like, fuck, damn. I was just like, oh. I was rooting for him. So I ain't even gonna lie, even though like my brain knew that he wouldn't be able to, I was rooting for him to be able to do it. I really was. So then Let me make sure I haven't missed anything. Um, well, okay, I'll have to look at that later. So then, chapter 8. Poor dear. Poor Wanchong. Yeah, it's like, poor baby. So then we move to chapter 8. And you were really rooting for him. Me too. I was super excited. We do have a color illustration of the bird. Yes, I showed it yesterday, but I guess now you guys know why yesterday I said I feel like this was Wan Chung because of the bird. Hold on, I gotta make sure I'm. So let me show it again. There's his little birdie. His little birdie whitey. Him so cutie woody. Very cute. Is the bird on the look? I'm like, is the bird on the cover anywhere? But no, of course it's not. It's in a cage. Yeah, I just hit him so hard. He was like, right. I'm in this new body now because I'm a transmigrator. Sticking with that. And I can't do jack. I'm sure that's gotta hurt. So anyway, yeah, Huantong gets Lin Tingyu into the bedroom, settles him down and everything, and getting him ready for the spraining treatment. And, they're like, oh, should we find the physician? And Huantong's like, my dude is a physician. Nah, he don't need one. so, um, but apparently he's hurting so bad from this sprain that he is sweating. And he needs 3 days rest. And then, of course, he makes his remark like, well, it would have been 2 days rest if somebody didn't try to pick me up and almost uproot my entire life. So I thought that was just a tiny bit funny. But anyway, we are in a different scene just a little later where Hualu and Wancheng are spending time together at some point. And she's like, no, Wancheng is like, don't you think that he's handsome? And she's like, he does. The young lord seems different when he's injured. He probably seems softer. Yeah, he probably seems a little bit more delicate. A delicate, frail, fragile little beauty, he. So, then Tingyu says that's what we call a war-torn beauty, which is a term used to describe a character in popular media, usually a female, who remains beautiful after suffering through battle or injuries. So, there's that. When we move on, Wancheng feels very gloomy. I would call this the gloomy chapter, or at least this part is gloomy, because he's super sad that he couldn't lift Tingyu, and he's been thinking and harping on this forever. And Tingyu is like, bro, what's wrong with you? And eventually, he's like, I can't even fucking lift you. He's, he asked in despair. Like, he couldn't even believe it. Like, damn. He says, see, every chance he gets. Yes, every chance he gets. Isn't he handsome? Isn't he beautiful? He's a worn-torn beauty just every time. But he's so sad. He's like, it's even scarier than a ghost story. Like, Tingyu is just like, well, you really thought you could? Where did this confidence come from? Probably from his past life that we just have not heard about just yet. But that's where that confidence came from. And even goes on, he was like, you were so small, basically. Your waist is thin. I didn't think you'd be heavy, but I still couldn't pick you up. And so, of course, Tingyu is like, consider what your body is. Of course you couldn't do it. You got to understand your own limitations, okay? And, of course, he's just like, I'm so frustrated. Even Huantong can do it. Why can't I? And I love this part. Because he was like, Huantong labors year round. So, like, why would you compare yourself to him? And, he's like, well, I'm taller than him. And so then Lin Tingyu is like, young Marquess. And he's like, what? And then he says, very much imitating Wancheng, don't compare yourself to others. Which is what he said in regards to Tan Tiger. Why are you focusing on something that you literally cannot do that someone else can? Take your own medicine. Might have been some sort of athlete in his past life. Yeah, probably, possibly. I really want to know what he was before, trying to piece it together here, right? Trying to piece it together is so hard. And so, yeah, he uses that against him, and it's pretty funny. And there is a point in that conversation where, Lu Wan Chung, he was so stunned he couldn't even say anything. And then, yes, NFS. And then Qingyu smiles. And it said this is the first time that Wan Chung has ever seen him smile while he was telling him that. He's seen him give like a smile or smirk of ridicule and stuff like that, but never truly like this mischievous and more innocent, grin, smile. So it was just like, yay, you finally got to see like a little warmer side of him, and he was in his own way encouraging you. When was your volume up? Sorry, 1 second. You haven't gone off this entire time. Your therapist has assigned you to talk to more people, and you were wondering if once a month or something that I'd be in. Okay. So, so you're like, huh? Yes. So, anyway, we get to page 89, where Wan Chung is speaking his not nonsense again because they're talking and everything. And he eventually says, "You're an exquisite but dangerous beauty who dare take action against the Eastern Palace. You can do anything." I don't think I need to say anything on that. So then eventually, Concubine comes to give Lin Qingyu some ointment. And he's like, "You're a concubine?" And he's like, "No, concubine Pan from the Manua Pavilion. You haven't met her yet." And of course, at first, Qingyu is like, "Well, I don't want to have to owe her a favor. This smells good, like it's got good products, but nah." And then Wan Chung is like, "No, she's good, actually, so accept it." And he says, "Be civil to her. She'll, and she'll, and maybe she'll be on your side in the future." I feel like I'm gonna eat a grape every time something with his background is suspicious. Maybe she will be, or will she be? Because what's gonna happen in the future? I want to know. So, anyway, there's that. So, you read the novel. Please tell me what happens in the novel because I know that you're a transmigrator. Okay, period. So, then we move on to page 91. And, bruh, so mean in his kindness is apparently what I put. What does that even mean? Oh, I wanted to say that on page 90, it says that Lu Wan Chung deserved his trust. So we have here already that Lin Qingyu trusts him. Doesn't trust anybody else there, except obviously now Huan Tong is there. But as far as the people that are a part of the non residents, he only trusts Wan Chung. So I like that he knows that the guy has pure intentions and everything. Lovely. And so then at some point, we have, oh, this is why I said it, because Wan Chung lifted his leg, so he could apply the ointment onto his ankle. And Qingyu is like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "I'm about to stick on an ointment patch." And he's like, "I don't need you to do that. Let go." And he was like, "You're welcome." And then it says, Qingyu is just like, "Go away." And it says, using only half his strength, Qingyu easily broke free from Wan Chung's grip and then left the room. Um, and I just thought it was nice because I said he's so mean. Um, I mean, so kind in his meanness, I think is what I meant to say, because he made sure to keep himself aware of Wan Chung's weak body. And so he pulled away, but he wasn't too rough with it. He used half of his strength intentionally to make sure that he didn't hurt him, before going away. And then, of course, it ends with Lu Wan Chung watched his back recede, his gaze full of resentment, feeling like he was about to suffocate. So I was really sad to hear about that. But okay, I guess we'll get further on that at some point. So then we get to a point where now the dude decides to pull out another bird, and it's a myna bird. Now that one I didn't look up because I think I was reading this late at night one night. So 1 second. Just like we just got birds galore here, and we don't have a picture of that one. So here's one minor bird. I ain't gonna lie, this bird looks like it will beat your ass just a little bit. Just a little bit. But here's also another one. So yeah, I think this is pretty much like the popular look. You said there's a bunch. Yeah, there's always a bunch of birds that just it's the same bird, but apparently it's many different looks. So here's their call. Hmm? Okay, not gonna lie, I kind of like the other one better. So like an Asian raven. I guess it depends on how big it is, because ravens are pretty big. I got pretty up close to one when I went to the Grand Canyon, which I was surprised in myself that I got so close, but it also was chilling. I had a new level of boldness near wild animals that I did not have, that I do not have where I live now. They're pretty big. I think that bird might be a little tiny. When they need a sassy talking bird, it's always Mina. You said find a video of one talking. Oh yeah. Um, Mina bird. I didn't even have to type talking. See, I already know. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Sorry. Sorry.
Oh, you didn't really say anything.
Hello.
Oh, hold on.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello.
Okay. I think that's enough of that. So anyway, that's the bird talking. So he has this minor bird, which it looks a little scarier than the other one, but it also still seems pretty cool. I've seen some weird videos on TikToks of all these birds that we have that make some crazy noises. Some of them are really scary. Nevertheless, there we go. So he's got this minor bird, and we get to a point where we can see that Huang Tong clearly likes Wan Chung. You know, he thinks he's a pretty cool dude, but also that he is kind to Qing Yu. So, of course, he's on his side. Then we get to the point where we are finally meeting the sister, Lu Nian Tao. Lu Nian Tao. So on page 93, I have this little highlight that says, oh, well, before we get there, she called him sister-in-law, which I ain't even gonna lie, just kind of made me shudder a little bit. And apparently, Tingyu didn't like it either. 1 second. Um, she called him sister-in-law. And she was like, oh my gosh, they say that you're an unparalleled beauty. Yes, the shoe bills. I don't want to be anywhere near that sound. I'm going to feel like I'm getting shot. And I don't know what that's like. But, he was like, you don't need to call me sister-in-law. Like, oh my gosh. But I'm so upset about it, which I know, again, that might be a thing. But, like, is it so hard to just say brother-in-law? I get it, he's the wife, but he is a man. And he identifies as a man, call him a man, brother-in-law, but, sister-in-law. It feels weird for him, even if it's, like, customarily appropriate. That's just how I feel. So then she's like, well, if you don't want me to call you that, what about Lean Guga? And he's like, okay, yep, sister-in-law, that's fine. That's cool. Just go with that. So you said they are terrifying. Yes. So, um, anyway, he's drying herbs and everything, and she's like, "Oh, are those for my brother?" He doesn't answer, but she just assumes that it is. And so what we have here is that the prescription that he's working on, it takes about a full month to finish. So it says here, how could Ling Qingyu devote all his effort and time to Lu Wancheng? Well, he was just practicing. And of course, it would be all right to have Lu Wancheng sample the medicine once it was finished. Who are we fooling here? It says you are devoting all of your effort and time to Lu Wancheng, but you're just practicing. Okay. Oh, you're thinking maybe it would be okay if he samples it. See the eyes? I am heavily side-eyeing you. Just say that you want to find a way to make this man live, because at the heart of you, at your core, you are a physician. Okay, this isn't even about the romance and stuff yet. You are a physician who wants to see patients gradually get better under your care. You don't want to be married to him, but you don't want him to die. And he's been so nice to you, standing up for you, preventing trouble for you. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so eventually she's like, well, Physician Zhang is the physician for him, so he's the one that takes care of his health and has the final say on what happens with my brother. And he's like, okay, what you mean? And she's like, don't misunderstand. All I'm saying is you might be worried about my brother and you want him to recover and all that stuff, but his body is priceless. We can't be careless. And you were born into a famous family, but anything that you want to do, you have to run it by Physician Zhang first. But I tell y'all about notes that I have, which I don't have it here, but I'm finna put it. These rules. Okay, I think I just put seriously this time, but I meant to put these rules. Because what the heck? Of all people, he should not have to run anything by Physician Zhang first. The only reason I could see that as an excuse is depending on what Physician Zhang was giving him, we wouldn't want Qingyu to give him something that would interfere, or, they would clash inside of Wancheng's body. But more than likely, he already knows what is being given to Wancheng. So why is it that we have this rule here that he can't do this? Okay. Anyway, so he goes on and, he's like, actually, no, it was Huan Tong that interrupted. And he was like, look, my master has studied under his father, who is a famed teacher, mind you. His skills are definitely higher than Physician Zhang. Physician Zhang can't even rival him. So what are we talking about? And then Lin Qingyu stopped him because he was like, something's not right. I don't know what it is, but something's not right. So then he goes on to say, oh, these herbs aren't for him, actually. You're worrying too much. And she's like, oh, they're not? And he's like, nope. It's getting late. Huan Tong, let's go back. These aren't for him. I'm just having fun. That's all that is. So anyway, so yeah, now I feel like Physician Zhang is probably in Lady Liang's pocket. But okay. Then we get to, yes, this page. Hold on. Wancheng brought the bird to Lin Qingyu. We could hear the minor bird saying, Physician Lin, Physician Lin. So he's like, if you pester me with this bird again, I'm going to kill it and make it into soup. First off, let's calm down, Qingyu. The bird did not do anything to you, so calm down. But I wanted to come on this page because this was another footnote moment, and I don't remember if it was in the back or not. No, it wasn't. So no footnote, no stuff on the back. But we have a thing here where it says mean physician lean, says Wan Chung, and then he was like, after I'm dead, what maiden will want to marry you? And Tingyu replied, you don't need to worry about that. I'll be sure that I marry well and will bring our children to your grave during Ting Ming. For anyone who is wondering, what the heck is Ting Ming? That is tomb sweeping. Actually, it may have been there as tomb sweeping, not Ting Ming. Okay, no, it just wasn't. Okay. It's the tomb sweeping, the festival in which, Chinese people honor their ancestors. They're usually sweeping, and they may have some decorations at the gravesite, and they light incense, honor their ancestors. That's what that is. Okay, now we're all done with that. So, then we have them talking. He's like, well, just make sure you burn some money for me. And he's like, yep, I'll burn you some. So then he goes on to say, I heard that Lu Nian Tao visited you several times, but you refused to meet your sister. Like, is there something you know? And he was like, haven't I told you already? I know a lot. And then he was like, okay. Tingyu was like, did the stars tell you to ignore her? And he's like, yep. The stars tell me she isn't a good person, so I should steer clear of her. The Stars being the novel that he read that before he got popped into this series, this book. That is what he's talking about. You said in your culture, at least, it's like Day of the Dead. Hello. What are we doing? We are discussing chapters 6 through 10 of Salted Fish. We're on chapter 9. The reason why the picture was inappropriate is because the first one I made that had the actual cover for this was it was made for kids, so no one could comment. So really quickly, I had to make another live session. So later I'll have to replace the thumbnail with what this actually was. But yes, that's what we're doing. So, I actually don't know when it is. That's a great question. When is Teen Bing Festival? Well, this year it says it's April 5th. And it lasts for around 3 days. Oh, that it is around... So usually mid-spring. Okay. I meant meaning-wise, not date-wise. Day of the Dead, All Saints Day, November 2nd and 1st, 2nd, respectively. Yeah. No, I think we figured that's probably what you meant. But yeah, it's in April. At least this year it's in April. But since it said mid-spring, it's probably always somewhere around there. So now we're moving to chapter 9. Oh, wait, no. I have to put my sticky note back on first. Okay. Now we're on chapter 9. The second to last chapter. Okay. So we have it here in this chapter. Yes. Another rule. It says, a daughter-in-law had to go to a mother-in-law's room every morning, regardless of a household size. Lin Tingyu hated doing that, but to keep Lady Liang from finding fault with him, he still went daily and faked pleasantries. Now, I ain't trying to be funny. But I don't know this part of the culture, so I don't really care about it. But why I gotta go visit her every morning? Why? I get it for respect or filial piety or something, but why he gotta go see her every morning? I don't want to do that. Like, I really don't. So he said, oh, my favorite social tradition. Yes, my favorite social tradition is going to see the mother-in-law every morning. Every morning, regardless of the household size. I'm like, I love my mother-in-law. And I am so grateful for her. And our relationship has come a long way because we used to not like each other. And I love her very much, like I said. But I would not want to have to go greet her every single day. Even if we lived in a big house, I don't want to go greet her every day. Sometimes you just come over to me if you really want to see me. But honestly, sometimes I just might not see you. Okay? So, anyway, let's continue with get off of my complaining. So, anyway, he goes to mention her, and this time though she had 2 cups of tea out, so clearly she wanted to talk. Usually they didn't really have anything to talk about, so it's like, okay, what's up then? So then she's like, do you know what the most important thing is that a wife must do? And we all know what it is: bear children. Why do we have to even have this conversation with someone who cannot state inmate transport, with someone who cannot bear children? Okay, fine, sure. And but then she also goes to say, and then manage the household. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is where we get into some fun stuff. I ain't even gonna lie. She's like, I think you need to share the young Marques's worries. So it's time for you to learn how to do this. And he's like, I don't know if you know this, but the only thing he's worrying about is when he gets to go to sleep again. Like, what worries are you talking about? Which I thought was really funny. But anyway, it goes on, and she says, if I remember correctly, the Marquess asked that I look after his son's health as well. You were there when he made that request. And the reason that is being said is because she mentions that physician John will take care of Wan Chung's illness. And she was like, you don't need to concern yourself with it. He's like, didn't you hear the Marquess ask me to look after his health? What did he say? Don't let my medical expertise go to waste. And weren't you sitting right there beside him? So I think I can do whatever I want with his health. I can concoct whatever I want for my husband, even though he's not thinking. I can concoct whatever I want for Wan Chung. Okay, so he went ahead and called her out. I appreciate it. And she was like, oh, right. Yeah, he did do that. And so he's like, okay, so then we're done. But then she was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't go away just yet. Before you got married, I learned about your batza, and I heard that also you have an eidetic memory. You got perfect memory, as her daughter called it. So, someone as capable as you, I think you should be able to manage household affairs, So, it shouldn't be too difficult for you. Then, Auntie Liu comes out, gives him the account books for the past month, and she's like, please take a look. It's only been a month since, I saw you. Hold on. Oh yeah. Then he sees Auntie Liu and he's like, it's only been a month since I saw you. You've aged a lot. Um, because remember Auntie Liu got punished and she had to do hard labor. And so she's like, I made a mistake. So my punishment is well deserved. Of course, she doesn't really feel that way, but she has to at least say it, right? So then he said, the trope of I'll get you via the worst thing ever, accounting. I mean, it would work for me. It would totally work for me. I'd be thrown out. I do manage our finances, or my finances at the very least, but it is not fun. I have a budget for everything. I keep track of things, even if I don't always go along with those things that I wrote. And like now, I even have a spreadsheet for every time I spend money for anything I'm doing on this channel, for tax purposes and all that stuff. It's not fun, but you got to do it. But I definitely want someone to manage my finances because, whew. So anyway, it's like they give him the account books for the past month and they're like, you need to sort these out. You got 3 days. But you can do it, of course. So after, he leaves and they fake like it's actually favor being given unto him. He leaves and, the Lady Liang and the Empress, I mean, not the Empress, and Auntie are chatting with each other, basically just thinking that he's going to be incapable of handling this. And she's like, don't worry, you're going to get your revenge, Auntie Liu. He gave you that punishment that you didn't deserve. This is what's going to take him down. Meanwhile, um, who was it? One second. Oh, it was Auntie Liu, I believe, who was trying to advise um woodwork. It mean I can't even my taxes now. Yeah, this year I was just like, yeah, we gotta find somebody else. I'm not doing this year. So, um, Auntie Leo is actually trying to advise Lady Xiang, because it was like, oh, he agreed to that very readily. And Lady Liang is like, oh, don't worry. All he cares about is entering the Academy of Medicine. So I'm not going to say that he's the kind of person that, is going to try to pull one over on us or anything like that. And, Auntie Lee was like, lady, don't judge a book by its cover. I think you need to be on guard against him because you are potentially letting him take away this role, this power that you have by letting him manage the household. And she's like, don't worry. I already had someone investigate and found out he's never done any accounts work before. All he's ever done is study medicine, 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 medicine. But just in case, we'll also make sure to tell all the servants not to help him out with it. So that's the end of that, right? Also, let me make sure. We also learned that Lady Liang's son is useless trash. That's always fun. In fact, useless trash sons always have conniving mothers because they know that the only way to get their sons to where they should be or where they want them to be is to connive. Connive, yes. So her son's useless. Anyway, we also learned that Lady Liang is of common birth, so she's nothing special. Not that that matters to someone like Shun Chen. And if you heard the chapters from today, then you'll know what I'm referring to. I don't feel like I spoiled that. But anyway, she's of common birth. So, of course, she's thinking he's not going to be able to do this, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we move on to the next scene. And Wan Chung has a headache from too much sleep. Too much sleep. I think it was like 16 hours of sleep specifically. And so, Wan Chung laid his head on Tingyu's lap while he was giving him a little massage. And I was like, oh, look at that. But anyway, and he justified it mentally by thinking, oh, well, they're both two men. They're both just two guys. It is what it is. I can lay my head on his lap. Okay, that's cool. So then we move on, and I have a highlight on page 3. And, he's talking about the medicine or whatever that Tingyu is talking about the medicine that he's working on. And he says that it's a medicine that is effective but can cause kidney deficiency. So in modern media, kidney deficiency can imply sexual or erectile dysfunction. So, and then it just ends with Lu Wan Chung being like, huh? And then we move on from that. So I just thought that was funny. So we move on. Tingyu does not want to do accounting. Big surprise. He does not want to manage the household. Also, very big surprise. Yes, so surprising. So we get to know that he still learned it though, and he learned to do it well because he just watched his mom. And what does he have? An eidetic memory. So it's pretty easy to learn it even without trying to learn it, but just sitting there watching her, being in the presence of his mother. And so I thought it was funny. But anyway, these books that he was given, they have sloppy, vague handwriting, and clearly there's missing information. And then he'll find it in another book, but not in the other, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just all over the place. And so we have it. I have a note on page 105 where, hold up. Silly that he ran at first. Oh, Wan Chung offered to help, right? He was like, and by help, he literally just meant help you get to sleep because you've been working so late. But then once Tingyu is like, well, you come and handle this, then he runs away at first. And I thought it was funny, but then he eventually comes back because he's amazeballs. And I did put amazeballs in my note. And he knows why Tingyu wants to do well on the account books. obviously. He knows that he just wants to get one over on Lady Liang. But he's like, I mean, dude, you need to take a break, right? Let me handle the household affairs. I'll get it all taken care of. Leave it to me. Just go to bed. And he tells Huan Tong to put out the lamplight. And he does, but then it ends up getting put back on. Meanwhile, Wan Chung seems very, very serious. Like he's showing a side of himself that he hadn't shown before, because Qing Yu was just like, well, why would you get involved in this? This is none of your business. This is my business. And Wan Chung is like, your business? Isn't this my family? The hell are you talking about? So he's like, don't worry. Like, I'll get this taken care of. So then at the end of this chapter, we get Wan Chung getting an accountant from the Duke of Wen, which was his uncle or something like that, to look over these books for Qing Yu. And of course, he sees that there is tampering. Because why wouldn't there be? Also, I wanted to point out at the end of this chapter that Lin Qingyu went to the garden to see Lu Wancheng playing pitch pot and everything, and Huan Tong also gambled to bet away some of his money. But at the end of this, it says, studying him for a long time, Lin Qingyu suddenly felt that he truly understood Lu Wancheng. This is good. This is a new development. Starting to understand the man. Okay, so we move to the last chapter, which is chapter 10. Qing Yu, the occasional burning of the midnight oil. Right? Exactly. So, this is the last chapter. We are almost done, and I'm glad because I am very sleepy. So, the accountant, Zhang Shichuan. Zhang Shichuan. I don't like saying Shichuan. Anyway, he's the accountant. He's very experienced, very meticulous, and he knows how to do this stuff, okay? He said he only needed a day. Anyway, he only needed a day, for real. He has 30 years of experience, and he has never made a single mistake. He was requested, after he finished the account books, gave it to them to look at, it was requested that he stay because more than likely he was going to be needed again. Like, there's definitely more to the story, and he's going to have to swerve right back around. So there's that. Then we have Lady Liang. It switched the scene. We have Lady Liang and Auntie Liu getting ready for the day. And Auntie Liu is doing her hair, and she pulls her hair, which was honestly very gratifying for me. She was like, oh, it hurts. Did you forget how to be soft and gentle with all this hard labor that you were doing? And of course, Auntie Liu was like, oh my gosh, I'm so old. And what did she say? She was 60? Almost 60. Yeah, and she held a broom for a month. Wow. God forbid an almost 60-year-old hold a broom. You need this guy to manage your household. But yeah, apparently, I know so many older women past 60, in their 70s, who are still very active, doing things. There was one lady I knew, she was like 80. I don't know how old she is. She even still alive? I don't know. She was tending to her garden every day. And that's difficult. Like out in the sun, whether it's hot or cold. But you can't hold a broom? But I ain't gonna be mad at you because you pulled on Lady Liang's hair a little too hard, and that was satisfying. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. Just like completely perfect. So anyway, moving forward. I gotta. Oh yeah, because it's the morning of where they check the accounts to see how Ling Qingyu did. But I'm satisfied. A broom. I've said so many of these things out loud. Oh, and then they're bad mouthing him because he's late. Yeah. They're bad mouthing Yu because he hasn't shown up yet. And of course, their minds are thinking, oh, he's too embarrassed, he's too ashamed because he knew that he knows that he screwed up. And I'm like, is it possible he could just be late because, I don't know, your son is ill and maybe he's tending to him in some kind of way? Like, why does it have to be that he feels that he messed up? And so, um, then as we keep going, we have it where Lady Liang, we officially see that, of course, she did not want Wan Chung to leave any children behind, which is the true reason that she had this marriage arranged in the first place. We felt that to a degree, but he was really, really sick. So it was just kind of like, I don't know. And to me, it was just like, man, what woman is he about to impregnate? Have you not seen Wan Chung? Have you not been around to see him bedridden for years? I mean, is it possible that he could just be laying there and the lady can do the work? You know, I'm trying to make sure it's YouTube appropriate. Do the work herself on top? Sure, but like, it's far fetched. You know, I just sometimes when we have these issues, I'm just like, I feel like y'all ladies in these households be over conniving for no good reason. And I think that was said in Tanji Baoju and the Jiangxing Yuchong. Why can't I remember the English name? Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish, where it mentioned one lady, without saying who, just in case anyone hasn't read it yet, that she was basically so conniving, she was overly conniving, you know, and it went against her own good. It's like, what was the purpose of you setting all of this up? He couldn't do this. Did it ever, like, it was an unnecessary precaution. Did it ever occur to you that maybe you could have just, I don't know, treated him well? His mother died from his birth. So you are his mother, essentially. Like, that's how a child would see it. You are his mother. If you would have treated him as your own, even with his sickliness, it could have still been possible that like things worked out the way you wanted them to. If you want stuff to go to your useless son, he's sick and he wants to be a salted fish. And maybe if you like doted on him, then it would have reaffirmed the fact that he wants to be a salted fish, you know? So like, what are we doing here? Totally unnecessary. Neko, he physically can't. He's medically impotent. Over conniving, did I say that? Yes, over conniving. What are we doing? Like, come on. He don't care about this. Even he said on the previous page when he was talking to Qing Yu about having children, and he was like, well, if I didn't have to put the work in, it would be great. This is exactly not even a priority. Not even a priority in the tiniest bit. So anyway, I was just kind of like, I'm telling y'all be so scheming, having y'all priorities all over the place that you don't even realize that you're setting yourself up for failure. I digress. So anyway, she didn't want him to leave children behind. So she arranged the marriage, but she did notice that ever since Qing Yu has come, that his personality has changed and he has gotten healthier. So whose fault is this? It's you. And it even says on page 112, if she had known that this would be the result, however, she would have made up in her mind to have Lu Wancheng die earlier. The way that I read that, she would have had made up in her mind to have him poisoned and killed. Because you're mad you can't control him anymore because he was, you know, more docile, very respectful and everything, but now he's got more energy, he's got some in him, and you're a little scared. You're a little scared. So anyway, we find out, of course, she didn't even believe in the warding off marriage thing. Like, she doesn't have that superstition. Obviously, that is what it is. Then a little later, you know, saying that she would have made up her mind to let Lu Wancheng die earlier, we got just a little bit further where, you know, who is it? Auntie Liu says, you were kind enough to guide the young lord, yet he is inept and lacking the skills to handle the account books. How could he justify himself? Mind you, the guy isn't even here yet. He hasn't even shown you the fruits of his labor for you to be able to see if it's a rotten apple or if it is ripe, if it's a ripe watermelon. So, how are you prematurely speaking on his skills? You said, man, I love that line. He cracks me up. Crap, what line was it? Was it the one about not having to do any work with the kids? Because if so, I'm for it. Now I'm curious what original character was like. I really want to know who he was. Because we all know he transmigrated. Now we just need the background story. So anyway, I was a little upset about that because I'm like, why are you counting your eggs before they hatch? Your chickens before they hatch, I mean. So then we move on and we see that Wan Chung was too lazy to walk, and so he was wheelchaired in by Ting Yu to meet Lady Liang. So immediately they see him and thinking, oh, Ting Yu brought him here for support. Brought him here for support because he probably did a bad job. So he needs a little backup. Right. Okay. Yes, that one line. And so they're like, oh, he did a bad job. That's exactly what it is. And that is not what it is. In fact, Lady Liang found out real quick. She was shooketh when she saw those account books. She wasn't even halfway through when she was like, holy shit. This is even better than the Marquess's accountant for the household. Like, whoa. This is really good, actually. Yeah, it's really good. And so she decides, because of her stupid daughter, Lunian Tao is like, oh, well, I heard he had a perfect memory. So why don't we see, if he's really truly done the work, is really what was being said. Let's see if someone else did the work and he's just taking credit for it. But here's the thing. Someone else did do the work and he is taking credit for it. But he has an eidetic memory. Like, what the hell were you thinking? It would be very easy for him to just look at the work that someone else did and memorize it. Too conniving. It makes one stupid. It makes one stupid. So she goes to test him like, oh, so answer me this. Okay, answer me that. Okay, answer me that. And he's like, oh, and then one thing she didn't even get to finish saying. He's like, oh, I got you. Blah, 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 snore, snore, snore. So now y'all embarrassed. Because you thought you had him. You thought that Auntie Liu was going to get her revenge on humiliating him because he couldn't handle these account books. But you were wrong. And I'm rolling my neck as much as I possibly can because I can. I wish my grandfather were still alive to see me roll my neck because it was like a running joke with us. But Grandpapa, I'm rolling my neck for you, okay? Because so I was just like, okay, you continue. You do that. You test the man because you're stupid. So anyway, after everyone leaves, Wan Chung goes all intimidating on Lady Liang. And I thought it was funny too because he had her help him out of his chair so that she helped him intimidate her by helping him up. And then he was like, let me just go ahead and settle this really quickly. And he's stepping all menacingly toward her while he talks. And Auntie Liu is like, why are you being so disrespectful to your mother? And he's like, shut the fuck up. Like with his eyes, right? And so they're shaking in their little boots, scared of him. And he's like, where is it? I'm trying to find the exact question. Hold on. He said, my illness is terminal. If the legendary physician Hua Tuo were alive, even he would be useless to me. Qingyu isn't reading medical books nor preparing medicine for my sake. And even if he is, he can't save me. And she's like, what are you talking about? You know what he's talking about. Because your daughter was like, oh, he can't prepare anything for you so and so because blah, blah, blah. He knows about this. Yeah. And he knows what your intentions are. And so she's like, what are you talking about, child? And then he was like, I don't have much time left. Probably not even half a year. I just want to eat, drink, and stare at beauties. Is that all right, mother? And boy, when we got all past that, he was like, who gave you the authority to speak to Auntie Liu? Eventually, he looked back at her and he was like, you still ain't answered my question. Is that all right, mother? And she's like, yes, that's fine. That's okay. And he was like, oh, thank you. No, sorry, God, I was like, he went from to, because he said he smiled, and I don't know why. I don't know how he smiled. It could have been a menacing smile, but my brain just pictured him going from really menacing and scary to thank you. And honestly, I find that a lot scarier. So he did that. Very, very lovely. And then we get to the end of the chapter, where Tingyu is like, what did you say to Lady Liang? And he was like, nothing, I just told her to behave. That's it. Grillfish. He's like, I just told her to behave. She ain't got to worry about it. And so, of course, then he's checking Hua Chong's smile. Right. So then, of course, Tingyu is checking his pulse. And then he's like, Physician Lin. And he's like, what? And he's like, I'm sleepy. And we have this moment again where he says, Tingyu says, like, dude, how old are you? Why are you talking like a child? That's embarrassing. So then he's like, the spring breeze is warm and sleep is overtaking me. I should like to lie in bed and take a nap. The perfect ending. The perfect ending for chapter 10. I was just like, my guy, you said bye. Well, you made it to the end of the final chapter, so yay. Sorry it was so slow. I know that part of that has to do with my energy like going down, so I was a little slower with things, but oh my gosh, we made it to the end of the chapters. So enjoy cooking dinner, enjoy the dinner, and enjoy the rest of your evening. We shall hopefully see you tomorrow. Because I already know you're caught up on QJJ. Yep. So we made it to the end. And wow. Perfect way to end the chapters, especially after seeing him be a little bit of a badass and then go home to his wife and be like, I'm so sleepy. That was cute. Whew. Okay, we did it, y'all. And my eyes are so tired, they hurt a little bit. Bye, Vico in the kitchen. Does this guy have motto phrases book under his sleeves? I don't know, but I need to learn from him, right? Because he's amazing at it. So, the next time we meet, hold on. It's gonna be chapters, I think it was 11 through 14. Yes. At least the next time we meet for this is going to be chapters 11 through 14. So that's going to be on Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same time. So the goal is for every Monday and Thursday while we're doing the offline book club to meet at 2 p.m. If something ever happens and it needs to be 2:30, that's what it will be. But yeah, chapters 11 through 14 is what we will read over the weekend. I considered making it more than that just because it's, well, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to read. But I do still have to do the live discussion for tomorrow, and I'm actually rereading those because I need to take my physical notes. And then we have a live reading on Sunday, and then I'll have to edit that and put it on YouTube and Patreon edited. So I think I'm just going to keep it to 11 through 14. So 4 or 5 chapters every time. Again, I know people binged. Totally cool. But yeah, so we meet tomorrow. Um, what time we meet? Was it 2 or 3? No, I think it was 3:30 because I already had some obligations that I had to attend to, unfortunately. Uh, when is it? Yeah, at 3:30 is when we meet tomorrow to discuss Qiangjingju. That's going to be chapter 65 through 75. So if you have not caught up, but you want to be part of that live session, please get caught up or you will be spoiled. Period. Okay? You're going to be spoiled in the worst or best way possible. I'm not even sure. Bye, Neko. Back to more unpacking. Oh, whew. Have fun. Glad your bed set is up though, because you have somewhere to sleep. But yeah, so we're meeting Friday for that. And then, of course, you guys know that we are meeting on Sunday, like I said, at 11 for QJJ. And I'll give on Sunday, I'm going to try to remember to give you guys all the information about Chinese New Year. That is coming up. Very excited about that. So, there are a lot of things that will be talked about for Chinese New Year. Very exciting. Anyway, that's all. Let me see. Okay, no other comments. Cool. So, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I need a nap. I need a nap bad. And then after that nap, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know right now I'm napping. So, I love you all. Well, animen saranghae. I hope that this has been fun for you despite the weirdness of how we started. Despite my energy going down, I don't even know if you could tell the difference. You don't want to leave, but I have to lie down now. Same. Yeah. Me have to lie down too. Um, so have a great night or a great day or a great rest of your day. I don't know. Um, remember to bring frozen grapes tomorrow. Okay? It's very important. Bye, NFS. Frozen grapes. Okay? Okay. You will not be able to reconnect. Your stream will stop and will no longer